Welcome to Tone Talks. Welcome to Tone Talks. Welcome to Tone Talks. So I was asked by my moderators to do a pop-up show on a couple of things, and I just wanted to kind of get to it because I feel like what has happened is black folks are struggling with politics and trying to use politics as part of grifting, from handouts to setting up political parties with no funding, no clear direction. Let's talk about some of those elements. Let's get into the discussion. I look to have about maybe 2,000 people live on the chat. We're going to be talking about Jay Morrison and the NAACP. Again, this is Tone Talks, coming to you to talk about Jay Morrison and the NAACP and Juneteenth and some of the things I see that are going on as people try to move over from the space that they've been in to a space that kind of tiptoes around reparations, but doesn't deal with their own histories, their own legacies in recent years, and also the realities of how what they've done doesn't jive with what we're doing as ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery. When I look over here, I'm looking at the chat. Please use the super chat to support this channel. I'm looking forward to having this discussion. So part of the dynamic of what's going on is Black America is struggling with the reality that this country is defined by the American Descendants of Slavery, not just the hashtag. Get past that for a second. No, there's one black group that's 32 million strong or so that was here for all of slavery. That's like 7 generations in some cases, here to breed, here to create the wealth. Their bodies were the chattel here in America. There are 2 other groups, and they're even broken up by countries inside of those. First, immigrants that largely came after the 70s from Caribbean nations. Now, those nations had slaves that came on ships as well, but they went to their own nations and they have their own flags and they have their own nationalities, which I'm no problem. What the second group is West Africans that came in the 80s largely and after, even into the 90s. And what people are trying to tell us is that they have the right to their own identity in America, but we don't. And what they're also doing is tiptoeing around the fact that they're also erasing history inside of that. As we celebrate Juneteenth and celebrate this emancipation, this freedom from slavery in America, I don't have no part in anybody taking part in basically celebrating it with us. But you are celebrating it with a native population whose families went through that. And you must then pay respect to those families because we built America. We have everyone from Jay Morrison, who's this guy who started this Tulsa real estate fund. This is his weekend. But the problem is, let's talk about it. He started the fund, but wasn't clear about who he was. His own lack of education. Let's just talk about it. He says he's a high school dropout, as I understand. Nothing wrong with that, but I just don't need somebody who dropped out of high school watching my money. In addition, he has his own history as far as drug sales and everything of the like. I love seeing reformation stories. I just don't think this guy is it. And the reason why I say that is because of several things that I personally was told by people inside of documents. There's a guy that called me. I didn't reach out to this guy and went through the reality of how he was cheated by Jay Morrison. He is in Jay Morrison's bankruptcy document. He is in Jay Morrison's bankruptcy document. He explained it. I explained it in past videos. Jay Morrison comes out with a Tulsa real estate fund, but he still hasn't been clear whether he himself is ADOS, meaning does he descend from slavery in America on one side or the other, at least, mother or father. He has not been clear, and part of the reason isn't his fault. We have never made that a clear requisite to talk about Tulsa, which happened in America, as a personal narrative. So we're looking at this thing and we see this whole reality as ADOS came about. We have Jay Morrison, let's talk, saying why asking for reparations from the USA is foolish. Jay Morrison. So he goes from that space, I believe last year, late 18 and 19, to now trying to move into the advocacy space that American descendants of slavery almost solely created that builds out a whole debt for slavery and Jim Crow to Adolf's people. You had Sandra Rose say something on a tweet by, I believe, one of the ADOS members, basically saying she tried to joke around that she wants reparations too, and it didn't make any sense, and it was very disrespectful. In so many instances, we saw allies and we saw people who are basically racist that are black saying things about Juneteenth, disrespecting reparations and the legacy of your family that died and built this country. And we saw people actually from countries, Caribbean, African, saying you sound foolish for trying to undermine their reparations claim. But we have Jay Morrison again today. He set up this Black Rights Party, but he doesn't deal with this. Why asking for reparations from the USA is foolish. No man that set up the Tulsa Real Estate Fund that too many people have told me they can't get their money back. He told us in January before COVID that people couldn't get their money back this year. There have been no remittances, as I understand, of payments to these people who donated and gave their money to this Tulsa Real Estate Fund. All I understand is that he's going to switch up to the Black Party. Let's talk today. So, again, I want everybody to look back at the old videos and then come into the new ones about Jay Morrison so you can understand. I need you to deal with and manage the people's money you have already. I need you to make sure they get a good return. This is COVID. If you can't do that, I need you to start processing the refunds. I don't need you to run a black political party. I need Yvette Carnell to run a black political party. You know why? Because she worked at the DNC. Because she went to Howard. See, these young men have started painting themselves like they went to HBCUs. They learned to talk and pronunciate and sound, but they're empty because they didn't go to Howard. They started painting themselves like they went to UCLA. They started performing college education. But it always comes back to swaggy, rich. Can I talk today? Because now I don't know what language that is. I'm just telling you, we don't say that. So, we got this thing, and he calls it the Black Rights Party. This is directly from the website. I want to make sure I read it because it's one long sentence. Somebody need to help him and tell him you break this sentence up because it's too long. But you learn that in college. Let me just read it because the sentence is so long that by the time you get to the end, you realize you're confused. And the reason you're confused is because the sentence didn't say nothing. The Black Rights Party is a bipartisan, pro-solution, consequence-based political movement. That's a lot of things, Jay. Slow it down and just say one thing at The Black Rights Party is a bipartisan, pro-solution, consequence-based political movement of black American citizens and their allies who believe in defending the basic human rights of Africans in America. That's not even the finish. Hold on, I tried to pause. And all people, regardless of race, ethnicity, sex, nationality, religion, or any other status. See, this is the problem. When you put that "and" there, what happens is you might have well just said, you could just not say, I'm just trying to teach the brother. You might as well not say the human rights of Africans in America. You don't have to say "and," because those rights are included in this all lives matter statement of people regardless of race, ethnicity, sex, nationality, religion, or any other status. So this is an all lives matter party titled and called the Black Rights Party, and he don't even know it. Can we go? Can we go today? Can I bounce? I'm just here, just talking. I need you to make sure that the young woman that came in my chat and said she didn't get her money for her $500, just get her $500 back. That's all the black rights I need on Juneteenth. We had enough theft with Tulsa. We don't need you stealing. Now, I don't know if you stole yet, but if you don't give her money back, you stole it. If you don't give her receipts and regular documents, I don't deal with funds. But I know funds are supposed to do something that you haven't done. But now you're going to switch over and be the Black Rights Party. They got him on the website with an African outfit on, y'all. I'm saying they got him on there with an African outfit looking like T'Challa. He got the sleeves and everything. I don't understand how people don't understand that almost all blacks in America will never go to any part of Africa. Almost all blacks in America have no family member that went to any part of Africa. Almost all blacks in America will have no child that goes to Africa. I don't understand how then you're going to define us by random outfits in Africa. I'm talking. I just want to make it clear that we African American, our flag is the red, white, and blue American flag. You had Jay Morrison. Y'all remember when he went on the revolt and he was in the stands and he was then they gave him a minute and they gave him a minute and 10 seconds to talk and he got to talking about Black Vote Day. Again, I just need to know first, is he ADOS? Please, I'm ADOS, both sides. I need to know if he is because I don't know who I'm talking to. The only thing I know is that he dropped out of high school and that he went to prison for a felony. I just at least need to know if he's ADOS because then we can just end this conversation. Because he got to talking about a Black Vote Day and Pan-Africans and Moors and he tried to dance around not talking about tone. But he made sure to take a picture outside of the revolt of him sitting outside waiting for it to start. Maybe y'all don't remember the revolt. Maybe y'all don't remember that they found out that Tone did videos that he never was going to take down. Basically saying that Diddy needs to deal with the fact that black folks are wealthless in this nation and stop being a decadent veil. Maybe y'all don't remember when Diddy tweeted an Instagram post with me and Killer Mike because I was supposed to be a guest. I'm not coming for a minute of talking. You can hold, he had to fight for the mic. Go look at the video. I'm not coming down there for nothing but to raise the elevation of the black dialogue. I'm not coming to just be seen and take a picture out front. I'm just telling you, we got to have this discussion because I'm looking at it and he called himself Dominican J. That's part of the reason I just want to know, is he ADOS? And this is not about divisiveness. We are having a personal, see, the problem is that we didn't make this a requirement a long time ago. See, we're having a personal, intimate conversation about our identity. If you are not of our identity, it would make it a lot easier. Now, if you are ADOS, you just don't know what you're talking about. And that's just at least you have a right to talk about it. Let's go to this website, this black party. What is it? The Black People Party. Black Rights Party. I don't even know. Come on. Our mission to strategically leverage, again, this is from their website. They got somebody in the kente cloth. We done went through the kente cloth with the Black Caucus, and they done put this thing out with the kente cloth thing. Walking on a bridge. Come on. To strategically leverage our collective political equity, thereby strengthening our position in the political arena to force, again, this is a very long sentence. This is not how you write. To force consequences and successful outcomes by way of comprehensive policy reform, economic stimulation, it's the wrong word, and social change for Africans in America and other undeserved and underrepresented Americans. So this is a Black Rights Party that is a people of color party that is an all lives matter party. I'm just reading it to you. Can we read together? I'm telling you that this man don't know what he's talking about. I'm telling you, in some spaces, I defer to the Yvette. In some spaces, Yvette defers to me. I'm telling you, that little young lady worked at the DNC. She worked for two congressmen. Democratic congressman. I'm telling you, I'm re-listening to her before I listened to a guy that dropped out of high school and then went to prison. I'm just telling you that. You can call it how you want to, elitist or whatever. I'm going to listen. Just like she listens to me about legal issues because I went to UCLA. I can show you the degree. I'm telling you because we got to get into a space where people have at least some kind of like baseline criteria they got to meet. I need you to have made sure that I would be even in a different space if the Tulsa Real Estate Fund was rolling and people was getting their checks and some people got their money out because they had COVID and they couldn't pay for their groceries. I can't get with nobody doing what he's doing right now. On Tulsa, and come on, they got Trump at Tulsa today. It was Juneteenth yesterday. I'm saying this to you, our strategic collective investment, this is their vision on this Black Power thing, whatever. What is it? Man, I don't even know this name. Black Rights Party. To our strategic collective investment and controlled vote will create a level playing field backed by true leverage and power that allow the candidate that supports our agenda to advance their own agenda through a fair exchange of power. They done sat down and did some high school stuff here. Don't none of this say nothing. I want you to go look at the ADOS website and look at the Black Agenda. I want you to look at the roadmap to reparations. I want you to understand the report that I did with the leading economists in the space of intergenerational economists, Sandy Darity. I want you to go look at the Fortune article. I want you to go watch Crack in the System, which was on Al Jazeera about the cocaine epidemic, where we got the Nicaraguans on for the first time ever to talk about the crack epidemic. Then I want you to come back and read this and tell me if it makes sense. But maybe you don't got to do none of that, and this long sentence don't make no sense. I came to you with a short because I want to come to you. I'm going to try to get in and out. Our values. Our priority is the repair and justice agenda for basic human rights for Africans in America. Look, we got the book club. See, this is the problem when you don't have no political education, as Fred Hampton said. These people are going out here, and that's why I talk about college and things like that, because even if you don't do that, have you done book clubs? Have you done book clubs with your organization or your groups or everything? No, this man doesn't even know what he's talking about. See, the book that Yvette is on, I believe this is the 7th book. Shout out to that sister for doing these book clubs. It shows you that you can't focus on Africans in America and talk about reparations and talk about a Black agenda. You need to focus on African Americans, which are the progeny of American slavery. We would say no different if we were in Haiti talking about CARICOM. If we were in Jamaica talking about CARICOM. We would say no different if we were in any Nigerian country looking at their family home that came from whatever wealth they gained for the hundreds of years that we were here enslaved. But when we get here, we need to talk about Africans in America. Africans in America. I want to make sure we understand. So we're not going to deal with the Minnesota rep that represented the district that George Floyd was in. Ilhan Omar. We're not going to talk about, Ilhan Omar came here in 94. Under his math, under the Cobra math, under the NARC math, she is as much due to any reparations from the American government for slavery and Jim Crow in America as your family that was chattel slaves for 7 generations and was hung and was chased out of Mississippi and Alabama and Louisiana, wherever you guys are from. Y'all the same to these people. But if we go to Somalia, we not the same. Let me go further. If we go to, let me let this plane go by. We talking. I want everybody to understand this. But if we go to Minnesota right now, Minneapolis, we can't get the asylum money because we not Somalian. So they got programs right now that pay $600 a month for 8 months, that pay $1,000 when you get here, that you only can get if you come from asylum in Somalia. I want to make sure I get the countries right. She's Somalian, right? I want to get everything right. I don't want no games. Yes, she's Somalian. So they get the right to do that. But what Jay Morrison is going to do is a black party that erases American history built on the backs of American history of your family. They got Jay Morrison. He came out after the reparations. So again, he said, let's read it again. Why asking for reparations from USA is foolish. This is him. Maybe ain't this your guy? That's the guy. So he came out, he was rambling for 4 minutes about Baba Joseph. Baba Joseph schooled him, and he from NARC or Cobra, one of those. And then this is when he mentions ADOS. And he said, we don't like him because he's swaggy, rich. I have no idea what a grown man with kids in his late 30s is talking about. And also, I don't even know what that means. I'm from Los Angeles. Our case for reparations is similar to this is words that he said, to the Japanese Americans 2 years of internment. Look, the only way that it's similar is they owe us our money. 2 years of internment has no comparison and no anchoring for hundreds of years of chattel slavery followed by Jim Crow. Our case is not similar. Our case is our case. I'm telling you this because he got into this whole thing that Baba Joseph told him that didn't make no sense about how we can't get no reparations because we don't have a nationality. I don't know what this man be talking about. I'm just saying to you. I had to come to you because we be struggling and he be out here and he done pulled up NARC. Let's listen to this. NARC got this thing, who should receive reparations. Listen to this. This is who he listening to. NARC is extremely concerned that advocacy, this is from their website, for this framework appears to be instigated by a relatively small group of recent converts to the cause who have launched a dishonest social media disinformation campaign. In our judgment, it is not a legitimate organic debate originating within the black community. Everybody in my chat down there black. The whole thing came from 2 channels that are black. I'm black, Yvette black. Both our parents is black. But they said it didn't originate in the black community. I'm just saying to you, these people just say anything. I mean, they just wild. They just like wild, like whatever its origins, the position is dangerous, distraction, which can attract well-meaning new adherents. So you're an adherent if you're just listening for the first time. That's what they called you. The focus on who can prove a direct lineage to the enslavement era contains 2 major assumptions that are false. One, that lineage can directly be proved. Look, I've talked to the leading economists in the space, and I like Darity, if you're listening, you need to stop going to NARC events because they basically are saying what you're saying doesn't make sense. What we agree on is that is the last thing we got to worry about. This is America. We are not in West Africa. We can easily find out if people came from slaves. Let me add one more. If your family is here before 60, 99% chance that you come from a slave and we'll be able to find it. Because they didn't really have black migration here. These people don't even know the history of American immigration patterns. They need to read more, just like Jay Morrison. We're listening to this thing, this nonsense. First, they can prove that lineage can directly be proved. And second, that reparations is only about the period of enslavement in U.S. history. They're talking about ADOS. On our website, we make it clear we're talking about slavery and Jim Crow. How do you not even know how to research who you're talking about? This is who he's referencing. NARC. Meaning Jay Morrison referencing these people that don't know what they talk about. NARC emphatically rejects both assumptions. We would ask proponents of reparations based solely on lineage, how much genetic material does one need in one's blood from the enslavement era? None of this makes sense. Look, tell NARC that they don't know what they're talking about and just let us be. So we looking at this discussion with Jay Morrison. I'm going to turn this corner. He came back and tried to clean it up because, again, he said, why asking for reparations from the USA is foolish. This is him. You know how you do them little Instagrams and then he get all these views, but there ain't a lot of comments. I ain't going to say nothing. Figure it out. So it's all these views, but not a lot of comments. I'm just saying how you get all these views. So why asking for reparations from USA is foolish. So he came back and he did this little post. You know, you like to sit around and put the camera real close. And he said, I stand by my full message on reparations. Unfortunately, I had to post it in 2 parts and you couldn't draw a conclusion from my full message. But I believe in government accountability and self-accountability. This is the cleanup. So you're going to move from saying they should know us nothing. Again, we don't know if you're ADOS. And if you are, you still don't make no sense. To now trying to mask it by saying I stand by everything. All lives matter. All things matter. No, the government owes us reparations. I don't care what happened as far as whatever you're talking about, self-accountability and managing your money, financial literacy or whatever else. If we only get excited when the focus is on them and they will continuously be in last place and give them and they control over, none of this makes any sense and it ain't even coherent. Get him out of here. So I kind of wanted to come to you because Jay Morrison, again, he did what is the Black Rights Party. He did the Black Rights Party. I don't even know. I mean, you might as well call it yellow or just, it's weird because people coming up with these names like Black Lives Matter. Black Rights Party. That's not, tell us what you're actually doing this for. Because you need a reason. And the reason ain't even clear. Everything is just generic. And so like we come back to it. Let's read the long sentence again. Everybody, are we clear? I want to read the sentence again. The Black Rights Party is a bipartisan, pro-solution, consequence-based political movement of Black American citizens and their allies who believe in defending the basic human rights of Africans in America and all people, regardless of race, ethnicity, sex, nationality, religion, or any other status. But it ain't about money. But all of a sudden you're going to start talking about reparations or some money. This is just about human rights, I guess. I'm just saying, this don't make no sense. So I just need everybody to come together and understand together that this don't make no sense. And then you got, him and on the same around the same time you got the NAACP. So the NAACP is taking this money. I'm gonna be short with this. They taking this money from Comcast. Comcast announced it as $100 million. And the title was Comcast announces $100 million multi-year plan to combat racial injustice. But first of all, the first hustle is that it's not $100 million, it's 75. And only 25 of it, and the other 25 is TV ads, I don't know, they just say TV, media. I have no idea how you get to count $25 in media, $25 million in media. But the 75, let me read it to you. Multi-year plan to allocate $100 million to fight injustice and equality against any race, ethnicity, gender identity, sexual orientation. There will be $75 million in cash and $25 million in media. So this ain't even about race, let alone about ADOS. I'm saying and they're gonna do it over years because they want to keep these people on the string. So right now, where we stand is that in March they eviscerated the Civil Rights Act of 1866. Largely, the NAACP, who was there the day before for DACA on the 12th of November, left on the 13th, was not in front of the steps, came in the last week and tried to scramble and do some cover by saying, a brief on the last minute. No, you needed to advocate for the Civil Rights Act of 1866 for 12 months. That is why you have money and are called the NAACP. And I think for a lot of people that's hard to digest because we're looking at this thing and we start looking and we look back and Comcast was urged by the NAACP to stop the attack. They continued to attack and then it got eviscerated, and I believe it was 9-0 against the Civil Rights Act of 1866. You'll see when you try to use it. How do you then take money from the company that eviscerated? You're supposed to just reject the money and say, you did this wrong, we can't really work with you. I'm just telling you, it don't make no sense what just happened. And then the last thing we see is that in so many ways, these organizations, because just recently, I believe, there was this whole thing where during his conference or whatever, Angela Rye is sitting there, and this Derek Johnson, the president of the NAACP, he says that bots. He says that. Let me actually get the full, because I got it on the thing. He says something about bots, and it didn't make any sense. I want to make sure I get it right. I'm gonna close out with this. Moderators, I'm gonna be finished. I told you. Hold on. I want to get it right because the man said some wild stuff. Here we go. Here we go. It is profound if you understand the journey of black people globally, as we have bots that try to narrow the conversation of reparations to only those who were enslaved. You don't have to narrow the conversation of reparations for U.S. slavery to people that have families that come from U.S. slavery. It's already narrowed. I don't know how the president of the NAACP doesn't understand that. Nor do I understand how he can call card-holding members that come to his chapters, like Gwinnett, shout out Princess, that go to his chapters, like Marguerite, shout out to Oakland NAACP, that go to his chapters and have cards, bots. I need you guys to go to your chapters, talk to your presidents, and explain how frustrated you are that he called you a bot. I need those presidents to demand an apology because he owes you one personally. I need you to start doing that in the coming week. You don't have to be disrespectful, but he owes you an apology. He also should explain what he was even saying, because reparations is for ADOS, and if NAACP doesn't understand that, I don't know how you gonna get this accomplished, because they keep just taking out little handouts and stuff, because this is the money from Comcast is not about transformation. It's to keep transformation from happening. That's just my belief. So the energy is happening. You don't want people to realize what you just did with the Civil Rights Act of 1866. We're going to put the NAACP and the Urban League with Morial and Al Sharpton in front of the spigot. We're going to have Al Sharpton announce a march on Washington when none of this is about Al Sharpton. And he don't even have the right to speak on this after the Civil Rights Act of 1866, along with several other things he's done. I'm saying to you that you got to take the first step. And that first step, more than reasonable enough, is if you are part of an NAACP, to demand that the president of that NAACP demand an apology for what the president of the whole NAACP said that I just read. I just want to come to you and have a discussion about all of the things that I've been saying. I need y'all to understand that this is a pivotal moment. I want you to stay energized. I want you to enjoy Juneteenth weekend. But most of all, I want you to make sure that people around you understand that you are ADOS, American descendant of slavery. Thank you.